So, continuing with the summary of Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort, The Wolf of Wall Street, we arrive in a chapter that is very important, and it is a crucial one. A lot of them are, but this is one of the meatier ones where we can get a lot of practical information. And this is the chapter, The Art and the Science of Writing a Good Script, a sales script. Because if you remember, you must have a script so that you can focus on tonality and on active listening when your prospect is telling you something, so you gather good information about him or her. So, first thing about a good script is it should not be front-loaded. And what Jordan means by that is that you should not put all of the benefits, all of the good information about what you're selling in the front of the pitch. Because if you do that, you don't have anything else to say later in the call. So if an objection pops up, and it will pop up, you don't have anything new to say. And if your prospect says something that your product could solve, it's not the main benefit of your product, but it could apply to that situation. If you already front loaded, if you already said everything about your product, you cannot make a point that the product has a special feature for that case. So Jordan compares the script to building a house. You don't build everything at once. First, you have the foundation, then the frame, then the walls, then the paint. Go step by step. Don't front load your script. Second, you shouldn't focus on the features of your product, but on the benefits. Because no one wants to know the technical specifications unless you're dealing with a huge nerd, which we cannot assume is the most part of your clientele, right? Unless you're dealing with specific niche where people are crazy about features, about technical stuff. You don't want to focus on that. You want to briefly mention that, and then you want to focus on the benefits that that feature can have to your prospect. That is like sales 101, but it's something that you should focus. You should never forget about it when writing your script. Third, you should have a lot of stopping off points, as Jordan calls it. You shouldn't go on and say, oh, we have this benefit and this second benefit and this third benefit. Even if you don't front load it, there will come a time when you are tempted to say a lot of benefits one after another. But you should have some stopping off points so your potential client doesn't get overwhelmed by the information, and so you can make sure that you're still in rapport. So after you have a powerful statement, you should stop. You should check if the person is with you. And you can simply say, you're still with me? You follow me so far? And you can check if the person says yes, it's a good thing, and you can go on. And it's a good thing for the person to say yes repeatedly. So you have to stop off a little bit, make the person say yes, and you go on. If the person says no, it would be very detrimental if you just kept on saying stuff, just kept talking about the benefits, number 2 and number 3. So if the person says no, or if you sense that he wants to say no, you stop, you go back in your script, you repeat what you said in a different way, in a different point of view, and then you ask again, you follow me so far? You with me? And then you can move on. Fourth, write in spoken word and don't worry about grammatically correct English. Again, we don't want robots selling to us. Everyone wants to talk to a human. So when you're writing your script, make sure it sounds like a human speaking and not like a text that you're reading or something, that a robot would say. Fifth, and this ties in with the fourth aspect. Fifth, your script must flow. You must make sure that there are no awkward sentences or stuff that rhymes that you don't mean to rhyme. Sentences that are too long or too short or logical jumps. The way you do that is revising it over and over and speaking it out loud. If you can, talk to someone else, speak it to someone else, or even record yourself reading it so you can detect those little awkward moments and you can make them better. Sixth, Your script must be honest and ethical. And I find it very interesting how much Jordan stresses this throughout the book. And of course, he was a former criminal, right? So he must stress that he's an ethical person now, or that the system is ethical. So make sure that every affirmation you make is 100% accurate. Make sure you're not exaggerating. Like when you are going over the script over and over, try to detect if there's any exaggeration of you, or if what you are saying is 100% accurate. Seventh, remember the equation energy in, benefits out. And that's from the point of view of your client. If the client wants to put or is going to put energy into buying your product, and money, spending money is a lot of energy, the client must be absolutely certain of the benefits that are coming out of the effort, of the energy. So if you are selling to someone and the person wants to buy, and then you say, oh, okay, I have this extensive form that you must write, and then you must send me the information of your bank, and I'm going to send you a link so that you can authorize the transaction, and then blah, 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 a lot of steps for the transaction to be concluded. That's a lot of energy. And this can stop the transaction because in a millisecond, the prospect is always thinking, is this really worth it? Not only the money, but the energy, the effort, the form I have to fill, phone calls I have to make, the link I have to click. So you have to make sure that every energy, every effort that the client does, you must talk about the benefits. So first of all, you have to have a easy process for the client to buy, of course. And he cites the example of Amazon, one-click buy. That is amazing. That is very good. And we have to get as close to that as possible so the client doesn't spend a lot of energy. And not only that, but when you are making a pitch, or when the client, in the middle of the pitch, the client sends you a buy signal. For instance, you try to close before an objection was raised, and then the client in the middle of the rest of your presentation says, how much you said it was again? You don't just say how much it is and leave it at that, because that you're demanding energy from the client. You have to say, even as you're closing for the first time or the second or the third attempt, you have to say, oh, it costs only, or it's an investment of only X dollars. And it is just a simple process. I will only need your name and some basic information, and we'll handle the rest in my end. And apart from that, you're going to get benefit number one, benefit number two, benefit number three. And believe me, the only problem you're going to have is that you didn't buy from me earlier. Sounds fair enough? So you see that when the client asks, or when you make your first pitch, your first closing attempt, you have to make sure you're talking about the benefits. And then you can close with the tonalities that we discussed before: absolute certainty, utter sincerity, and reasonable man. So that's a very powerful way to close. And you always have to remember, if you demand energy from your client, you must shower them with benefits so they think it's worth it. And eighth and final aspect, you're not writing just one script. You're writing a series of scripts, because you must have a script for opening the call, your main sales pitch, a script for each common objection. You must have a series of scripts, because remember, we're dealing with a human. Each interaction is different, and you must always listen to your prospect. Otherwise, you come across as a robot, and no one wants to do business with a robot. Okay, I hope this was useful for you, and see you in the next video.